Okay, so we are walking in Veranda tonight, and Veranda is in Richmond, right?
Right.
And so tell me a little bit about this beautiful neighborhood.
Well, yes, it's a beautiful neighborhood developed by Johnson Development. And so we had a handful of builders here. We are completely sold out. And so Sitterly was the last builder to finalize their homes that they had for sale. And so we have different amenities. We have the lifestyle director, and she does a great job with creating events for the residents to be part of.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the amenities. What all is
Sure.
here?
Yeah, so we have tennis courts, we have the pool with the slides, we've got the cottage house, which is really nice, and we've got our own fitness center here. We have a lot of trails that I ride my bike on. So we've got to have at least probably 8 different trails. That is really nice. And so I'll show you those here in a minute. And then we also have some green space in different parts of the subdivision. We have different parks. We have a dog park. We have a place where you can actually wash your dog and have your dog run around. So it's just a lot of different amenities here.
Okay, cool. I love how quiet it is back here.
It is pretty quiet.
It's so peaceful. I mean, there are parts of Richmond that are just bustling, and not to say that this isn't close to shopping, because it
It
is,
definitely is.
but it's so peaceful and quiet back here. And I know you've got like a lot of waterways. Like I've walked back here a little bit too, and over the years, and yeah, it's really nice. You guys have your own elementary school too, right?
We do. Yes, we do. We also have a brand new Montessori school that just opened up. And then we also have some green space where they're now talking about developing a few different ideas there. So they're in the works of discussing that with the Mud District.
Oh, okay.
We also have our special clock tower here. So that's one of our centerpieces of the subdivision.
Okay, cute. How long have you been working in real estate?
I've been a real estate agent for going on 23 years.
Yeah. You're a pro.
Thank you.
So tell me, how did that come about? Like, kind of, how did you get into real estate? What drew you to it?
Sure. I always wanted to sell a product. I always felt like I would be in that arena. And so I worked across the street from a REMAX office. And so I always thought, okay, one day I will graduate college and, decide to leave here and become a real estate agent. And so really wanting to sell something, but I wanted to sell something that was tangible, not something that was, not tangible. And that's why I chose real estate.
Nice. And so have you always been in Texas?
No, I moved here in 2013.
Okay.
And so I did start my business all over again. And so selling real estate for 10 years in Chicago and built that business and then relocated here in 2013.
So that's a lot, right? To have to restart, because the business, that part's easy, although everybody closes a little bit differently in different states. But building up your list of clients, that can be, that takes time, right? And a lot of work.
It does. And so when I moved here, I've been with a coaching company pretty much my entire time of being in real estate. And so having a real estate coach and, doing the things that they really educated us to do to build a business, even if you're relocating or if you're just starting out, that was something that I always was really part of. And so when I moved here, I was able to double my income just by utilizing all of the training that I had gotten over the last 10 years.
Wow.
In Illinois. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good for you.
Thank you. It did include a lot of hard work, a lot of door knocking, a lot of cold calling, to the point where, it was 7 days a week for quite a few years.
Yeah. So did social media play a role in that? Like, how do you utilize social media?
So in the beginning, no, social media did not play a role in that. In fact, I did tell people that they really couldn't find me online just because I wasn't really growing my online business, because the way I was trained was really to focus on face to face,
Okay.
right? So over the years, I told myself I really need to look into doing more social media, but originally it was all face to face.
And so has that changed for you now? Here we are, 2025.
It definitely has, to the point where people know what we're up to in our business, and just seeing our homes for sale, seeing my husband and I, also share our personal lives with people as well. So we're not just real estate agents, but we're also high school sweethearts, and enjoy loving on our family and traveling and other things.
So how does that work? Now I'm going to get personal. No, how does that work working with your husband?
It's amazing. It really, really is. We really enjoy each other. Before David got into real estate, I had already been in it for quite a few years. And we had already been together for quite a long time. So I think because we had grown up together,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been easier for us versus maybe, something new for other people. But yeah, it's just been great.
And so how do you kind of split like, do one of you have a strength that the other one kind of has a weakness in and you kind of trade off, or how do you divide and conquer?
We do a lot of tag teaming. So, we just do a lot of tag teaming. So, you know, David will show the buyers, I negotiate, we do a lot of tag teaming. So I won't say we both have a lot of different strengths, but I think we just enjoy working with our clients. And so, and a lot of times too, we'll even go together on things.
Nice.
So,
Well, that's good, right? I mean, yeah, that's especially because, like you said, it's a 24/7 thing. So when it's part of your social life as well, that just makes sense.
right.
And yeah, how do you educate your buyers and approach that process of looking for property, finding the right neighborhood, finding the right floor plan, finding the right house? What's your approach with a new buyer?
Questions. I'm always asking a lot of questions. And so I think that's the number one reason why I've been so successful, is because I really focus on their needs. So I have a list of probably 20 to 25 questions that I ask them, especially if they're first time home buyers because they've never purchased a home. But I would say definitely questions, going through all my questions to assess what it is that they want.
Okay, so like, what are your top three?
Top three for a buyer?
Yeah.
I would say what's important about making the move, right? So, where are you looking to move to? What amenities are you looking for? Is it important to be close to your job? Do you work from home? So there's just a number of questions. I really can't say there's a top three.
Because there's so many that
There
they
are
need to
so
think
many.
of.
I mean, well, there are just so many that I
Yeah.
go by. Also, are you leasing or do you own right now? Do you have a deadline? What does that look like, right? I mean, for some people, right now they're telling me I want to be able to buy by February of next year. So we keep that in mind. Some of them say, I want to be able to be moved by Christmas. So it just depends on, what that looks like too.
Okay. So when you have a buyer, do you insist that they get pre-approved before they start shopping?
For their own good.
Yeah.
For their own good. And I think that's really important for people to know, because for me, I mean, I've seen so many different homes throughout my career, the different floor plans. I've seen so many different subdivisions. But for me, I think helping them understand the importance of that pre-approval to know what type of loan that they're going to go into, because that will also dictate what homes we look at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. You don't want them to get attached to something just to find out that it's not in their price range.
Or the type of loan. So, if they're going for a conventional loan, or if they're going for, an FHA loan, but on the MLS it says that, the seller will only take cash.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really that too. Like, that's really important. As far as price range, I work with a lot of people that, they tend to be pretty conservative. So even though, we talk about the monthly mortgage payment, right? So if they're looking for a monthly mortgage payment of $2,600, what does that look like? The tax rate we look at, right? The interest rate, all of that. So we focus a little bit more on that monthly payment versus that sales price as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so for sellers, when you're working with a seller, how do you sit down and have that conversation with the seller about preparing their home and, most importantly, pricing their home when they list it?
Right. So we really talk about the questions again, going back to, what's important to them about selling their home, right? So I've had some folks where we've met, we've talked through some of the questions that I had, and at that moment, it really wasn't maybe the best time for them to sell their home. So I feel like I'm different than some agents, because I do want to know their needs, and if what they're looking to do won't satisfy those needs, then I suggest they wait.
Yeah. Well, because you want your client to be your client forever. And like you even said, right, like a lot of it is people that you interact with socially. So it's all about the relationship, and it should be, because I think it's a huge relationship of trust with your realtor. And if you're not honest just because you want to make a sale or you want to dodge a hard conversation, that doesn't do anybody service, right?
But I do, yeah, right, 100%. But I do speak to a lot of people that don't know me, that they they really don't know me. And so, and the reason why I say that is because whether they know me or they don't know me, I am who I am, and I speak the truth. And our motto is, we tell people the truth, not what we think they want to hear.
I love that. Good. That's what makes a good realtor. So we met each other, I think it was in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And the market was very different in 2022 than it is now, right? Huge changes. Of course, I think the first thing everybody thinks about is the rise in interest rates. But what changes have you seen in the last 3 years, and how has that changed your business or your approach with clients?
Some of the changes that I've seen in the last 3 years, there's all this talk about the interest rates, but at the same time, I think, people that I was talking to 3 years ago that were looking to buy, that have now purchased, the price has gone up.
Mm.
And so I think that's what concerns me for the future with some buyers, is because, we look at the interest rate and we say that it's high, when in actuality it really isn't high, based on statistics and what we've seen in the past.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest concern in Texas, I will say, because I feel like Texas just continues to grow, especially Fort Bend, the pricing. So if the pricing is continuously going up and people are paying attention to that interest rate, then they may be missing the mark. Working with our loan officer that we partner with, working with the insurance rep that we partner with, and looking at those numbers. We have worked with more first-time home buyers than people may think, and I'm talking about first-time home buyers under the age of 30. So I think what we've noticed is people with saving their money, and saving, as well as looking at that debt that they
Mm-hmm.
obtain as they maybe look into buying different things. I think that's been a big part of what people want to be careful with, because at the end of the day, I tell people, it really doesn't matter how much you make. What matters is what you keep.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Have you utilized, or have you seen a lot of like down payment assistance programs, or is it just a matter of, hey guys, you got to buckle down and save
buckle down and save. Buckle down and save, but also, what can you do to eliminate debt?
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you have a high car payment? Do you have, different things that you're paying for that maybe can be eliminated? A lot of people are caught onto the subscriptions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So different things like that. And David and I, we have sat down with our clients, past clients included, and talked to them about, some of the strategies to save for their future as well.
I love that. That's great. I know I just talked to a buyer the other night, and he was saying, their big thing was food shopping and eating out. And it was like, if we just stopped eating out 5 nights a week, if we changed our grocery store, we found all of a sudden they were on track. They saved $1,000 a month
Yep.
was their goal.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, it's easier than you think.
Yes.
But I think sometimes it takes sitting down with a professional to come up with that strategy to get you to be able to see it and see the goals and watch yourself achieve those goals to stay motivated to make those savings. Right? I think it can be overwhelming, especially for a first-time home buyer, to look at the overall amount that they'll need for a down payment and just think like, oh, well, I can never do that.
Yeah, I also think too, I mean, the first time home buyer, that can be at any age, right?
Mm-hmm.
That could be 40s, 50s, 60s. Ultimately, what we want to look at is, what do they have coming in and what do they have coming out? And I think a lot of times, like the buyer that you spoke to, saving $1,000, I think when people really look at their finances differently, they really can make a massive impact on their future. Because keep in mind, we truly don't feel like we're in this business as just strictly real estate agents. We have sat down with people to speak to their future about what it looks like to be saving. And the fact that David and I have been saving since we were 18 years old together, we can speak to that, and we
Yeah.
can say, this is what it looks like for your future, and this is what we would recommend because this is what we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. What are some of the things that you're seeing in floor plans now that, like, I know home offices
Right.
are really popular, right? So being in a home office is something that I think a lot more people work from home,
Right.
right?
Right.
What else are you seeing that's different maybe in houses that you didn't see 15 years ago?
Well, sure. Some people are customizing their pantry. So they are, and so that's something that we did recently. David designed the way he wanted the pantry to look. So that's something different. Some homes have wine cellars. Some homes have walk-through showers, and the bathroom being customized. Some people have saunas in their home.
Yeah.
Some people close in the covered patio to keep the bugs out. So there's a number of reasons. There's a number of things that people are doing,
Mm-hmm.
and reasons why they're doing them. So
Yeah. So something that I've noticed that, and I don't know, maybe I just haven't seen houses like this before. One of the new things that I'm seeing in the newer homes and the floor plans is the laundry room pass through,
yes,
where the primary closet opens up to the laundry room and then it also opens up to the hallway.
right.
And I think that's so smart. Are there any other trends that you're seeing kind of develop?
Well, they are eliminating the formal dining room. I
Mm-hmm.
have noticed. So they pretty much have slowly gone away, at least the
Everybody's
newer
turning it
homes.
into an office.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So they're turning it into an office or a playroom or, different rooms. Yeah. So, but I will say, yeah, they have pretty much eliminated the formal dining room.
Okay. Now, you were selling by representing buyers and sellers during the pandemic. What was that like?
It was wild. It was, yeah, we had about, 35 offers on one home. And I mean, it was unbelievable. Um, we listed 25 homes for one family.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so those homes were all investment properties, and we had a minimum of 8 to 40 offers on the different homes. So we had spreadsheets of what those offers entailed.
That's incredible. I mean, that's where you have to really be on your game with paperwork and organization. Do you think that that's the time really when the huge spike in prices happened initially and then it just kept going? Or do you think it was prior to that?
I do think that there was a spike there. I do think that depending on where you purchased and who you purchased from, meaning the builders, some people were, looking at making multiple offers and buying homes without an appraisal. So that was something that had happened. We are seeing some people that purchased from the builder that are coming to us through social media or referrals saying, they're interested in selling. And now the numbers aren't where where they need them to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely slowed. So if you have a client who, let's say they bought during the pandemic, they bought at a top sales price, they've been in there for now a couple of years, and they're looking to sell, but they don't have the equity in the house, right? Maybe they're not going to get the price that they want or need, but they probably have a great interest rate. What is your strategy with that client?
We're renting them out.
Yeah. So I've heard a lot of people, kind of realtors, talk about that too, and I think that's a smart strategy because you don't want to let go of that interest rate,
Right.
and then you can recoup through monthly rental income,
Right.
and still be able to make the purchase that you want.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So no, I think that's great. When I bought my first house, it was in California. It was in the Bay Area. We were way ahead of the curve with pricing. Pricing was already terrible. And so when we were looking to buy our first house, we thought, well, this is crazy. We can never afford these houses in Silicon Valley. So our strategy at the time, which worked really well for us, we bought it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath or 2.5 bath townhouse. It was not in a great area of town, but it was in our price range, and we painted it and we made it nice, and we were happy. We had our little house, knowing that that was just a building block, and 2.5 years later we had enough equity and we had saved enough because we had an affordable payment.
Right.
We could save money.
Right.
We knew we were going to get equity from the house, right? In that 2.5 years, that we were then able to buy a house that was on a cul-de-sac. It was a free, single family residence. It's 2-story house. So it was like twice the size, twice the price, but we could afford it 2 years later, just by taking that and making it building blocks and setting those goals. So do you think that now some buyers will have to come to that realization that's part of the process, and you may not be able to get into your dream home today?
Oh, absolutely.
But you've got to be strategic with your
Absolutely.
purchase.
I mean, so the home that David and I just purchased 2 years ago, we bought it in 2023, but it is our 4th home. So all that equity that we got from the first home to the second to the third to the fourth. And so we did exactly what you did. And so I think that's really important when you can build on that and know that, this is a stepping stone, and make it a home. Our home was a townhome as well. Our first home was a townhome. And so I definitely think that. And, I think sometimes the way things are displayed on social media, it's as though you should be able to have more, but you just don't want to do that at the expense of your future.
Right? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is be house poor and not be able to enjoy your life in that house and be able to afford right? What you're in. Now, I've seen a lot of people online as I'm posting about the kind of the pathway to home ownership, right? And because I am really proud of owning my home. For me right now, it makes perfect sense. And I get it. There have been many years where owning didn't make sense for me, right? Like my kids were finishing up high school. I didn't know where they were going to go to college. I knew we were going to downsize eventually. It didn't make sense to me at that point. So we rented, right? So now buying makes sense. And I think that everybody has to weigh those options.
Sure, that's what I did. I moved
Right.
when I moved here from Illinois. Yeah, I rented.
Right. So I don't know what advice you have there.
Well, I could tell you, yeah, I mean, definitely, I think looking at the option of looking to purchase a home, I think you have to keep in mind that wherever you're buying, how long will you be staying there? Because I will say, people that have relocated here, if they're going to relocate in another 2 years, I don't advise them to buy. So again, I'm in the business to, yes, help people buy and sell homes, but at the same time, I'm looking at their future. I'm looking at where will they be in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, not just the immediate 30 days.
We have talked so much about buyers. Let's shift gears to sellers for a second. So let's talk about the seller that has been in their house for a while, that has fantastic equity, and they're ready to make a move.
Yes.
So what's your strategy? What's your advice for those sellers?
The advice is, again, is it important for you to buy now or to wait later and continue growing your equity? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times there's some kind of life situation, right? They want to downsize, they want to upsize. There are reasons why sellers sell to buy. I will say this, I did it 2 years ago. I took all of my equity that I gained from my home and I put it on the next home. And so that's what a lot of sellers are doing. They're taking their equity and putting it on the next home, which is great, right? Because that brings that payment to where they want it to be, so on and so forth. I think the trickiest part of it all is where I come in and strategize with them about the timing on it, right? A lot of sellers don't want to do double moves. So what does that look like? So us finding where they're wanting to buy, keeping that in mind, but also looking at their home and getting it ready for sale, all the while you're looking at buying. And so really timing it perfectly so that they don't have to do two moves.
Yeah.
I think that's been the biggest, and having the 23 years of experience, that has really, really helped me on strategizing, having the relationships with the builders. That has helped me. Obviously our clients trusting us to, keep their best interest in mind and what we're trying to do here. That has been number one. And yet again, people continue to find us online. And so they meet us for the first time, they get a feel for us, and they're like, you know what, I really believe in David and Lisa, and I really want to work with them.
Yeah. That's where I was just going to say, that's where experience is everything.
Yeah, and so I just believe that when it comes to finances, to health, to real estate, buying or selling, anything you do in your life, I truly believe that it's 80% mindset, 20% mechanics. And if you can remember that and just do a deep dive and check your mindset when you're dealing with anything in your life, whether again even if it's your marriage or your children or anything that you're dealing with, just remember 80% mindset, 20% mechanics.
Yeah, just stick with it, right?
Just stick with it, and just remember that it's really what we believe in, not what we do, and not all the action, but truly our attitude towards it.
Yeah. Oh, well, great realtor advice and mom advice. Look
Thank
at you. Well, as always, it has been so good and so enlightening to talk with you, and I appreciate you walking with me on this evening. At least the sun went down and it's a little bit cooler. So thank you for that. And I hope that everyone will continue to follow us and subscribe as we build out this podcast. But I have loved every minute of episode 4. Thank you so much.